What is up, guys? A very good morning and welcome back to another daily market outlook. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. We're kicking it off with another Euro USD breakdown. So Euro dollar overall is still bearish. Obviously, we've pushed now in towards the highs, and it is not pretty much unexpected, I would say, because overall last week what happened? Well, on Thursday we tapped in towards our area of interest over here, and from there we pumped up further in towards the highs. As we mentioned, there was a potential looking for a short inside of this area of supply, but there was 0.0 signs of any slowdown at all. So what then happened is that the market just kept on pushing, and as we know, there was a lot of liquidity situated above this high over here, as this high and this overall trend line were trying to, let's say, suppress price. But then what happened is that as soon as we got that liquidity, we saw a massive spike in towards the highs, in towards, let's say, this overall buy before the big sell-off. As we can see, that is now acting as your area of supply. So what are we expecting for the upcoming week? Well, preferably I would like to see one more push further in towards the highs, kind of like liquidating its own high, and also a push in towards, let's say, this refined area of supply over here, this, let's say, ultimate buy before the sell-off. So if we do see that one more push in towards the highs, liquidate this high, then I'll obviously be looking for a change of character and then a potential short. So that for now is my main focus here on Euro USD. For the rest of today, there is still some potential for lower prices. Obviously, if we look at the overall market here, this, let's say this over here is in imbalance, this doji candle, but more preferable would be this area of demand over here, which is still fresh. So potentially what we could see is a short-term sell-off in towards the downside, maybe one more push up, and then, for example, the real short to commence. But if the market already starts pushing up higher and after liquidating this own high, then I'll already be looking for a potential short in towards the downside. Now, looking at the dollar index has pushed down significantly lower. Obviously, the longer that we're inside an area of demand for, the weaker it gets. So we were situated inside of that demand zone for a very long time. Demands failed, and we saw a further push in towards the downside. So overall, if you really draw it from wick to wick, obviously you would have touched. I had it from here. So yeah, looking at the dollar index overall, for now, the market is bearish, I would say. This is currently supply that is holding price back. It is also your fractal structure. So fractal high is the high of that bullish candle. This is your fractal low. So we're bearish and we're still looking for the downside until we break the high of that bullish candle, that bullish doji candle, and then we look for those longs. So do keep that in mind when looking at the dollar index. As soon as that high breaks, there is potential for higher prices. Then this next supply zone will be our next target. Once that supply zone breaks, then I'll be really looking for that further upside. Until then, we can still just push a little bit more in towards the downside. Now, going onwards in towards AU, so Aussie dollar pushed up higher significantly. What can I say? We have now, if we look at the overall 4-hour impulse, we now have this as your 4-hour high, this as your 4-hour low. So this overall is an impulse in towards downside. What has now happened is that we've pretty much just liquidated the high over here. So there is now potential for a further downside move. Preferably, you now kind of want to see this area of demand over here, which is again fractal structure, get broken. So you want this low to go because this is now your bullish fractal structure. Until then, we can still just move up higher, but as soon as that breaks, I'll be looking for a further shorting opportunity. Now, moving onwards in towards pound dollar. Sorry guys, I'm a bit sick today. Pound dollar moved in towards supply. At the moment, price is just holding inside of this area, kind of like of demand. Not the nicest of price action. Overall, if we look at, let's say, the actual swing here on the 4-hour time frame, this over here is your swing high and this over here is your swing low. So you can see that we've now pretty much just pulled back perfectly in towards that 50% mark. So definitely looking for a potential further short from here in towards the downside. So yep, keeping my eyes open for a potential short. Liquidated this high over here very nicely. So yeah, looking for that further downside movement. Do keep in mind, obviously, there is still kind of like this extreme area of supply, but refined to the overall buy before the sell, we could already start seeing a further decline in price. Moving onwards in towards Kiwi dollar, so NZDUSD. So NZDUSD is one of the better pairs at the moment. Looking very nice here on 4 hour, tapped in towards extreme supply. So this overall is your 4 hour, like this. Now, obviously on the 4 hour over here, there's no demand, so we're coming from supply. So definitely looking for further downside push. Going in towards the 15, there's a lot of liquidity above these highs, kind of like above this trend line. So maybe a little bit more of a push up, and then, for example, you could start looking for a short in towards the downside. Still, again, there's a lot of liquidity also below these lows. I would definitely be looking at least this as our next target over here, this area of demand, this overall sell before the buy, with this being liquidity, definitely. And now currently taking out this trend line liquidity over here. So just trading from liquidity in towards liquidity lows. So yeah, that is NZDUSD. Moving on in towards our last pair, which is gold. So gold has been shooting up higher. If we look at gold over here, I mean, yeah, what can we say? Overall, it's a little bit of a messy pair at the moment. Still a bearish trend overall. Obviously, this is the low, this is the lower high, this is the lower low. So now we're looking to establish somewhere over here, maybe like a lower high. This is currently like your liquidity high. So let's see what happens once we take that high out. Potentially, if we see a nice bearish reaction, we could look for a short. Otherwise, just be going long once we break this high over here. Then I'll definitely start looking for those longs on gold. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Any questions, just make sure to join Discord. See you there, link in the description down below. Thanks.